I've been domiciled in Hamilton for about 30 years and working with Chow architects, Chow Hill, for 20 of those years. And so I'm domiciled in a small to medium-sized city myself. And one of the things that I've discovered over those 20 years, it's actually quite easy to do business in a city the size of, say, Hamilton. And then I found extending out to the broader Waikato and more recently to the Bay of Plenty. You know, when you have a number, maybe 700,000 people in that catchment, and it's proximate, the areas are quite proximate to each other, I find it quite easy to do business. And the ease of doing business is one thing, but then coupled together the accessibility to people. So what we've always found in this sort of central region is that it's the key influencers, be they in council, be they in local government, local politics, central government, local MPs, whether it be other key influencers in our area, they're actually quite accessible, you know. And one can cross the main road in central business district, run into a councillor, sit down, have a chat, and tee up a meeting. That's a kind of accessibility we've had. It's given us some benefits, to be honest, in terms of engaging with people on a personal level, and then obviously into the business and the broader reach of property council and etc. I tend to be a relatively good networker anyway, just my personality is wired up that way. And I figured out there was potential to influence outcomes in the built environment with property council. I saw opportunities, not just to network, which I'll naturally do, but I saw opportunities to be an influencer. And we used to use a saccharine comment, you know, the greater good, which I know is a little bit sort of gag me with a fork, but actually it genuinely does drive me a little to do the greater good for those that have outcomes like that provide towards a greater outcome, a greater good. And my main burden that I guess motivated me with involvement in property council was a burden that I had about around the issue of quality, and it'd be that quality developments, quality buildings, quality urban scapes, or sometimes a lack of quality. Okay, and property council had, I guess historically it was kind of, as Andrew had said, it was kind of identified as just it's a lobby group for developers. It's a lobby group, and it doesn't take into consideration, perhaps a wrong perception, doesn't take into consideration the actual build outcomes. It's about assisting the commercial benefit of developers. And I confess to holding a little bit of that initially, maybe 6-7 years ago. That is, I guess, drove me to say, hey, we want to be supportive and advocates for the industry, but equally not rubbish, you know, but good quality outcomes. And so I got to volunteering into property council and the region, because poor quality and to be fair, some dodgy, there you go, rip, snort and bust developers had tainted or tar brushed the perception of our industry generally, and you know, and our buildings and our builders and our developers and our owners, you know, it had tainted us somewhat, and this negative perception was widespread amongst councils and media, you know, and so on. And this was a concern that was real, and I wanted to be able to do what I could to address that concern. You know, it was so bad at times we couldn't even get an invite to the table, you know, to talk about stuff, you know, with key people and so on at the time, and have conversations. It was a bit difficult. So thanks to my predecessors, and thanks to the team over the last few years, and a lot of hard work, a lot of mahi has been put into this, and we've turned that around. And so we now have great relationships. We're invited to the table early with councils, in both Hamilton, Waikato, and more increasingly with Bay of Plenty and Tauranga, etc. And so I've felt we've journeyed well, and we've turned things around, and the trajectory has been good and will continue to be very positive.